Gradina Aprile at the Westmont home in New Jersey. May I just ask you some questions about your family and your background?
If I can answer them.
Now, were they in the silk industry?
My father.
Let's start again without the clock. Questions. Was anyone in your family in the silk industry?
My father in Europe.
In Europe.
Europe.
What did he do in Europe? Weaving. And was he a weaver here also?
Oh yes, that's all he knew how to do outside of Europe. Our work was, he was always raising pigs, and his business was in the bologna business, making bologna sausage. And
where were they from in Europe?
Northern Italy, Portula.
Portula.
Yeah.
Is that up near?
Near Switzerland, up that way.
Okay, near Vicenza and Venezia, etc.
Yeah,
up in
we're
that
not
area.
at the bottom of the boot. We're up on
the top. Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't know. I was born there, but why, I don't know.
Now, was anyone else in your family who was weaving over here?
My mother did a little of it, but she wasn't working because she had 5 children. In fact, one was born when my father was here in America already. He brought the older boy here. My older brother come down here with some friends a few years after he was here, and he couldn't take care of all of us, so we struggled along up there. Mother did what she could. She was working at night also. I don't know. I think she was in a silk mill, but what she did, I really don't know.
Now, did your father help you get your first job?
Not really. We just walked into it. We come in and we're all in the silk mill, every one of us.
All of the children worked?
Every one of them.
And now, how old were you at your first job?
I was at 14.
Did you have to get working papers?
Yeah.
And was that true of your brothers and sisters?
All of them, yeah.
Did you work in the same mill that your father worked in?
No, not at the beginning, no. And he was already, he was out there. And when we got to home in Hawthorne, we lived at the beginning of Hawthorne. He was more or less retired and making his garden at home.
So now, what did you have, brothers and sisters?
My brothers and sisters were all with us.
What did they do? Did they also weave?
Every one of them were in a silk mill.
Were you all weavers? Were you all weavers, or did you do other things?
No, just weaving.
Just weaving.
Yeah.
So now tell me, do you remember what the name of the first mill that you worked in?
Ashley and Bailey.
Ashley
and Bailey.
And Bailey.
And we lived up in Hawthorne, the beginning of that, and they called it Ashley Heights because he owned the whole hill.
Oh, okay. How did you get from Hawthorne to here?
Well,
the mill was here in Paterson?
Oh yeah. Oh, I worked in Market Street for a long time. When I lived there, we had a bus there come to Hawthorne and back. I had to get up and get a bus every morning, winter, summer.
What time?
And 5 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's...
And I was working, the place is knocked down now, right at the corner of Market Street and Spruce. They knocked it all down now. I worked there in the Brilliant Weave Shop.
Oh, Brilliant. Yeah. And someone else here also worked at Brilliant. Did Leah Knapp work at Brilliant?
Yes.
Did you know her?
No, not from there.
No.
I only knew her when I came here.
Could you tell me a little bit about what you did, your job, just sort of describe what you did as a weaver?
Well, I worked at the jacquard looms for a long time, 3 and 4 looms, but that was too much for the jacquard.
You mean you watched 3 and 4 looms?
Yeah.
Okay.
I couldn't reach for the cars because the jacquard looms has a pattern. That was making tie silk, but fancy, not just plain. The shaft looms was the plain material and dress material. I didn't do too well there because I had to have a little bench in the front and a bench in the back because I couldn't reach. It was very bad for me.
Because of your size?
Height, yeah.
But the jacquard was easier for you?
No, not really.
Not really.
Because it was
I
needed the height and I needed the stretch to pull the ends in.
So what type of a loom then did you
jacquard.
The jacquard was you
jacquard.
Still did the jacquard?
Oh yes.
And you watched 4 looms?
Well, no, I watched 2. And when it come to 4, I had to give it up. That was my time.
And when was that? How was it? How old were you approximately?
I don't remember just about how old. Quite a while after. I didn't do nothing after that.
Did so you watched the looms? What else did you do? Did you have to fix ends and
Oh
things
yes,
of that
we had to
sort?
put the ends in if one broke, and the little, what we call the heddle went down, the loom would stop, and put the shuttles in when the loom had to go back and forth where it opens up and the one shuttle goes in and it closes, opens again. What was making the looms
Uh-huh.
from the cloth.
And it would stop when you broke an end.
Oh yes.
How did you actually repair the ends?
Oh yeah, you tie a knot. We had spools there for same color thread, and put it in a little eye of a needle, thread the heddle there, and then make it in the front, pull it in the front in the shaft, and then the comb, like, what did we call that?
The cone?
The shuttle.
The shuttle.
No,
Or
where all the ends come in. No, it was where when they put a whole new warp in, they used a reed.
A reed. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'd have to put it through the reed also.
Yeah.
Yes.
Each end had a
special way to go
like
through.
a comb.
Right.
Like a comb, only it was very thin. No, you had to have good eyesight and all.
Did that happen often with the
Well,
silk you were
yes.
working?
Oh yes. Yeah.
Do you have any idea what grade of silk you were using? Was it good silk that you were weaving?
Yeah, on the jacquard you always use pure silk, but that was for ties. That was pure silk. On the shaft loom, mostly it was crepe or raw silk. Then that could be dyed for dress material.
Oh, and it was dyed
Yeah,
afterwards. You were doing what they call now gray goods, I think,
Yeah,
just one
yeah,
color,
raw silk.
raw silk.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. So that you watched it, and you actually had to reach over. It must have been hard for
Oh
you.
yes, it was, and we were running. Then when it got to 4 looms, I had to quit.
How big were each loom? Do you have an
the looms
idea?
were 48-inch material, 40,
okay.
42-inch material.
But you really didn't have to do anything to the cards above.
Well, unless I had to pick back. If I had a float, something went wrong in the front and I didn't see it, sometimes you pick out that much and you have to count your picks because you have to pull all that card back to match the pattern. Where you were weaving, we had to match that again, go back to it.
Where did you learn this? Who taught you to do all this?
My sister taught me and her husband taught me.
Before you went to the mill?
We were all weavers. We were all weavers.
Did you learn to weave before you went to the mill, or did you learn when you were there?
No, learned in the mill.
And so that you did they call you an apprentice at the beginning?
Well, I don't know, learners.
Yeah, just a learner.
Learners.
And how long did they give you to learn?
Oh, well, when you were able to run 1 or 2 looms, but usually it was 2 looms. Like I say, when it got to be 4 looms, I had to quit. I was a little too short for everything.
Did they pay you?
Well, no, it was piecework. If you didn't work, you didn't get.
Oh. And even at the beginning you were on piecework, which meant that you really, did you get paid as a learner?
Produce. No. In fact, you should pay the one that teaches you. You know.
You would pay them?
Well, I didn't because it was my sister and my brother-in-law taught me how to.
What would people pay them?
I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know because you didn't have to.
Yeah.
Do you remember what the size of the piece that you took off? I mean, how did they?
Oh, by the yard.
By the yard.
We had to get it. That was down at the bottom. You had to loosen up everything and pull it off, roll it on another roller, and carry it yourself to where we had to. Where then they pick it. If there was loose ends or knots, they had to pick it.
Did how much were you able to weave in a day? Approximately.
No, just whatever you could, but you had to work. You really had to work.
So would you take a yard or two? Was that normal for a day?
No.
Every day would you bring it in?
No. You had so many yards to do by piece. You had orders.
Oh, okay.
You had an order, a ticket order.
Oh, I see.
How many yards of this, how many yards of that, and the pattern number from your cards were on.
So you could say have an order to weave
taken off,
50 yards.
Oh yes.
And you would have to wait until you finish it.
Oh yes.
Before you would get paid.
They cut it, and then they cut it under.
When would they pay you? Only when you presented?
Every 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
It was every 2 weeks payday. Wasn't too much, but it was great, because.
Do you remember what it was?
Not really, but it was very little.
Did you ever have what is known, I heard Leah Knapp said something about a smash. Did you ever have smashes?
Oh yeah, because sometimes something goes wrong with the loom and two shuttles come out, get together from each side. Because when you have a pattern like jacquards, you have your boxes works on both sides. The boxes what hold the shuttle in. And if something happens and they both come out together, then you're really in a mess. You have a smash with the warp in the front or in the back, and then you have to rip that all out till you get the pattern. And
you have to pick it out.
Oh yes, you have to pick it out. You rip it on the edges and pick it all out. Count your picks, and then go back. Each pick is a card on your card. Each pick till you get to the right pattern and match it.
You don't want that? Did that happen very often?
Well, once in a while we had those things. You get used to it all.
I can imagine what it looks like.
Used to it all, yeah.
Now,
wasn't easy.
What was the light like? Was it light? Did you have good light when you were working?
No, with the green little shades on yet. For me it was hard. I was starting then that I didn't know what was wrong with my eyes. And then of course that kind of work you really have to have eyes. So you have to have good eyes. And you get glasses, you do what you can, and when you can't do it no more, you give it up.
That's right.
But it comes a time.
Did you wear the hat? Was there a cap?
I had a peak. We had shades. Yes.
Okay. You were saying about a hat, a peak.
Oh yeah, I had a shade, a green shade.
Uh-huh.
In fact, I think I had it here for a long time, and then I gave it to my brother one day. And I said, I don't need that here. I can see all over. I wasn't doing anything. But we did. I did a lot of crocheting here for the ladies. We have a sewing day.
But tell me, did the peak did it help you, the light, so that the
yes.
light didn't glare down? Is
Yeah.
that why you used it?
Yeah.
I see. Now, tell me,
Did
you work daytime?
Yeah.
What were the hours? You got up at 5, you told me, and took the
at
bus
5,
in.
oh, yes.
What time did you have to be at work?
We started work at 7 o'clock.
And you worked until?
Till 5.
Did you have a lunch hour?
Yes, we had an hour, 12 to 1. We had to bring lunch. Couldn't get out and have to bring lunch. It wasn't easy. No, it was hard days.
Did you have friends when
yeah.
where you were working, so you had some fun while you were?
Well, it was all right. It was what you'd make it,
you
know. Yeah, you couldn't fool around much because you had to keep your mind on your pattern. Yeah. I enjoyed it though. I love weaving. I enjoy hard work. Yeah. I enjoy house cleaning too, but lately I haven't been doing anything. Otherwise my place should shine.
It does. Don't worry.
It doesn't, no.
Tell me now.
I haven't dusted in a month.
Well, I can't tell. The place is very clean.
No.
What was your second job? When you moved from Ashley and Bailey, did you stay there? Or how long did you stay there?
No, I went to the Brilliant.
Then you went to Brilliant.
Street,
and how long did you stay at Ashley and Bailey?
Oh, I think, I don't know, just the years. A lot.
A lot? And then why did you move to Brilliant?
Well, they closed up. They closed up. They were on Warren Street by the Erie Station. Then I had too much to walk, especially winters like this.
Yeah.
I can remember wrapping my legs up with newspaper to get to work and get back home. Sometimes no buses because those times we only had a bus halfway up from Paterson. We had to go shopping in Paterson and carry the bundles up and get off at Bell Avenue, if you know where that is. That was the end of the line in Paterson, and walk up to our house was about 20-40 minutes. Oh, it wasn't easy. We had a tough life.
So now
we made it. We made it.
And smiling, and you enjoyed it.
Oh yeah.
Now at Brilliant, you were also a weaver.
Yeah.
And did you do the same type of weaving?
Same thing. Yeah. Shaft or jacquard, mostly jacquard.
And again, 2 looms?
Oh yes. Yes, when they got 4, then
You would leave at that point?
Left it. Yeah. I left and then I retired. What did I try after that? I went to a lady's house. I was minding her baby at daytime because she was working. No, that wasn't a job though. It was just courtesy. That's about all I ever did was weaving.
Did you ever join a union? Did you have to join a union at
Oh,
any of these
yes.
places? At
Oh,
both
yes.
of them?
Yep. Oh, yes.
Which
we,
union did you join?
I don't remember now. Amalgamated.
Amalgamated?
Something. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yes, we were union.
And what were your feelings about the union? Did you feel they helped you?
Oh, well, I thought it was a good thing. I thought it was needed. I can remember years ago when they had this big strike and we had to go in Halden, when they had the meetings in Halden. Do you know about that?
Is this the strike in 1913?
I don't know just
The
what
big
year.
strike?
Yeah,
Yes,
that was
okay.
it. Yeah, when Gurley Flynn was talking.
So tell me about it, because I only know a little bit about this.
Yeah, and it was up in Halden. The house is still there. Basso's house.
That's right, I've read about that. Bato's house.
And, oh yes, I was in.
You must have been at Ashley Bailey at that time.
Yeah.
Did you were on strike?
Oh yes. We didn't work. If the place had trouble like that, my father never allowed us to go to work.
Did your father participate in the strike too?
Oh yes.
Everyone did in your family.
My brother too.
Did anyone go picket?
Well, occasionally, if it was not right when we had the strike breakers come in, then I remember when they used to have the meetings in the dye shop. That was different though. We were in the weaver department. I can remember my brothers coming up and down Muses Hill, and they used to come across the fields and they used to get chased from there because they didn't want the workers around. You know, they were watching the strike breakers and we were on the other side.
Right.
But it wasn't easy.
You must have been very difficult for the family because you
Oh,
weren't
yes.
working. What was
No.
it, 13 weeks?
Well, we had friends, and we had a good baker that he said no matter how long we would be out, we would have bread. So that was something we had home. We didn't have it too easy. We went through our share.
Did anyone in your family go into New York when they had that big? They had a big parade. No one went.
No.
Was there?
We didn't go into that. We picketed here if we could, but I didn't go out. My brother did a couple of times, but I never went out picketing.
Yeah.
No. I left it to those, and I said, well, when they can go to work and I can get up and go get a bus and go down Paterson, I'll go to work, and that was it.
Did any girls?
Well, there was
picket?
a few. Oh yes.
Really?
There were a lot of them really enthused about the whole thing, but I didn't want to get into that.
What did you think they were going to gain by the strike?
Well, they thought they would gain a lot, a few pennies a day more, you know. And it was hard.
Did they?
They weren't making much money.
And when the strike was settled?
But I say, we got along. You struggle, that's all.
And you went back to Ashley Bailey at that point?
Oh, yeah.
Did everyone get to go back after the strike?
No, not all, no. It's never a good thing. It's always a total loss, more or less. A strike isn't profitable, no.
Did any of your friends not go back?
Well, a few changed their work. A few got something else.
Was it because they wanted to, or was it because the owners didn't want them?
Either that or necessity, you know. Some moved away, some didn't. My father and my one brother went all the way to Pennsylvania to work there so they could send money home so we could pay our bakery.
Really? Where in Pennsylvania did they go?
Allentown.
And there were other silk mills there?
Oh yeah, there's silk mills just like there are here. But we couldn't all go there, so my one brother went and my father, they were working there. No, it wasn't easy. Our life wasn't easy. I'm glad now I don't remember it all.
You remember a lot.
Well,
and no one in your family did dyeing. It was totally in the weaving end.
Yes. I had one brother, the youngest one, in the dyeing. He was there in, what is that mill? Not Johnson's. Only one, the younger one, but that I don't know too much about. Mm-hmm. He never liked silk mill. He never liked weaving or nothing. The others, we were all weavers. My sister was an excellent weaver.
Did you ever have, did anyone in the family weave at home? Did you ever have a loom at home?
No.
Did you ever have any connection with the so-called cockroach shops?
No, not really. No, I enjoyed everywhere I went. I enjoyed it. It was good. I enjoyed my whole life. Didn't have much entertainment, but what I had I enjoyed.
Did everyone that you work with enjoy it? I mean,
Yes, we were a good group. Yeah.
Were most of the people Italian where you were
Not
working, or
really.
no? Was it a mixture?
Yeah, it was a mixture. Some Hollanders, but it was a case of either do that or nothing.
Right.
You know, those days that's about all there was, unless you got into like a shirt factory or something. A lot of the Holland people were in the shirt mills that had someone there could have them come in, but usually our kind was always all weaving. They liked hard work, and it was. It was hard work.
Tell me, you speak very well. You obviously went to school.
Only
Did you complete
till about
it?
the 3rd or 4th grade.
Really?
That's all. Yeah. A little bit of a farmhouse, one room school. It was a farm when we went and lived there. It was a farm. All of a sudden became a schoolhouse.
Now, did your parents immigrated here? You said you were born
in Europe.
Yeah. In Italy, and came here.
Yeah.
You speak with absolutely no accent.
Well, that I don't know, but
my grandmother was born here, although lived in Italy, and she speaks with an accent. But you did anyone in your family? You don't. No, you speak very well. None of you did.
No, and I had one younger brother than I, and he didn't speak any. No, none of us had an accent. My mother never spoke English, my father very little, but my mother never really got into it, but the rest of us, all the children were all like myself.
Tell me, I didn't ask you, were you married? Have you
Yes, I was married and divorced, went through the whole bit. Yeah, 4 years,
divorced?
and I said, oh yes, I'm divorced.
When did you get divorced?
4 years after I was married. Well, he was an outdoor man. He wanted, his weekends had to be up at Greenwood Lake fishing with the boys. So I said, well, you know, when we got married, we both had to work. He was a warper and I was a weaver. So we come home, I had a nice house, and I said, it has to be clean, you know, there's work to do when you work all week. So he wanted his weekends with the boys up in Greenwood Lake. I said, all right, you go, there's the door. When you go out, you go out. When you come in, it has to come back in. But I said, I'm not going to put up with this every weekend that I have to sit home and clean and you go. So it got to be a little bit, well, I'm going. So finally one day
But that must have been very hard to get a divorce. To get a divorce at that time?
On my own, I got it and paid for it. Didn't ask him for a nickel. Didn't get a nickel. No alimony, nothing. All on
but
my
we're
own.
talking, this is a long time ago when divorce was not common.
Yeah.
It must have been very difficult for you.
It wasn't easy.
How did your family feel about it?
They didn't like it, they didn't understand it, but they didn't say much. My father was already, he was living with me yet there. My mother was gone. She passed away early. She was only 58 or 59. But my father was there after he had a little house on 8th Street in Hawthorne, and we went and moved in there. So he was with me till he was 86 years old.
So did your ex-husband was a warper? And
he went back home with his mother, and his mother come up and said, could she come to visit? I said, anytime you want, the door is there. And I went to see her, he was there. He said, don't mind him, he's my boarder. She said, you can come anytime, and she would come to see me whenever she could. We had a very good relationship, yeah. No hard feeling, no fighting, even getting my divorce. I got my own, paid for it, never asked him for nothing, and the lawyer even told him, you're very lucky she's not fighting for money.
Right.
I wouldn't give it to her. He said, don't say too much. He said, you're supposed to. You have to give it to her. If she was fighting for it,
she would give it.
But I didn't ask for a thing.
So you worked your entire adult life?
Yeah, my whole life.
When did, do you remember what year or how old you were when you retired? When you stopped working in the mills?
Oh, I think I was about, I really don't know. Never thought of that. I never thought of that when I was in Frick Eaton on Market Street, so it wasn't, I don't know.
So you don't remember if it was in the 40s?
I don't remember, really, to say, no.
I'm going to turn this off for a second. I just want to go back. You never took care of 4 looms. You stayed when you took care of 2, and when
2.
it became 4,
Well,
you
I
left.
had 4 when I was on the shaft looms, but not with the jacquard.
Not with the jacquard.
2 jacquard looms and 4 of the shaft looms. I worked on that a while, but I couldn't handle it much.
Did you think it was dangerous? Did you think the work was dangerous?
Oh, it's dangerous because when the shuttle comes out, it can hit you. It can hit you in the face. We've had people there got hit in the face and lost an eye.
Tell me how that happened. Would you be leaning over?
No, well,
because here's the loom.
Sometimes there's something wrong with the loom and it throws the shuttle out, and wherever you happen to be.
Oh, and it can throw it up. It can angle up and hit you.
Oh, yes, it can come right out.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And if you, it wasn't easy. If you had something, we would call it a little mark on a loom, and it had to come out. You pick back. You got the weights to lift up and everything. It wasn't easy. It's a hard job to learn.
And you were always on the
Skill.
boxes?
Yeah.
Leaning over the loom?
Oh, yes.
Or walking around
front
it?
and back. Oh,
You had boxes in front and back?
Yeah. Yeah. And I enjoyed it. Hard work isn't easy.
Weaving is enjoyable.
No, it is good.
I think if there's anything else that you can think of that actually, well, let me ask you this: did you set up the looms?
No, they were all set up. They would come. We had a boy or a man come and put the cards up too when it was jacquard. We didn't have to carry that and put it up because they have to climb with a ladder and put it up, and it goes make the pattern. Like what kind of pattern? I can't just say now, a pattern on a tie silk. But it was nice.
Here's a question for you. Did they give you the pattern so you had to read it, so you would know what colors went in?
Well, we had sort of not really a pattern. We knew about what it had to be. Even on a card, you get to the point, and they're all cut out. It's just a cutout pattern, and then it's all tied together to form.
But you would have to have a pattern for your shuttles.
For the work. Not really.
No?
Really, no. You just take it, and this would be it. You know what colors you have the colors, because you would have 3 and 4 shuttles. One come out, another one stayed there, then the one box went down, and another one would come out to make the color pattern.
Was there for the color pattern, they gave you a guide for that?
Yeah.
Was it a chart or was it written?
No, it was sort of a written chart for your filling too.
Did you have to go and get your quills?
Yes, we had to go to the quill winder and get a board, or sometimes they came in boxes, but mostly I worked where there was a board. The colors, all you needed, so much of this, so much of that. And when we run out, we go back to the quill winder and get a few more bottles. Quills.
And there could be something that there could be 3 across and 3 down, so you had a full board of quills.
Yeah. Very nice.
Okay, thank you very much. I
hope
appreciate
it's been something. It isn't perfect, but I hope it'll be something.
We're going back to some notes that I have, and I see that you were a quill winder at the beginning. Just tell me where it was that you were a quill winder.
Oh, I can't remember. Morton Mill.
Morton Mill.
Yeah, the Morton Mill in Riverside.
You said a label?
Sort of, yes. It was sort of a label ribbon, yes.
Okay. And how long did you stay there?
Not too long. And I had to go in and learn weaving.
Okay, and then you went to Ashley and Bailey.
Yeah.
Now, did you work at a place called Frick Eaton?
Eaton. E-A-T-O-N. In fact, the son has an insurance place right up here on Union Avenue there.
Was this
Morris Eaton?
Okay. Was this before or after Ashley and Bailey?
After I went to Frick Eaton.
And there you were a
jacquard weaver, also plain looms.
And shaft, okay, and plain.
And shaft.
Was it more interesting to do the jacquard weaving?
Oh, jacquard weaving is very interesting because you have to learn a pattern. You get the shaft loom is always the same through the whole work.
Right. Your sister, now did your sister, she was a weaver also?
She was a weaver. She was a good weaver. She taught me, and then her husband took over.
And you didn't work in the same places, or did you sort of?
No, well, at the beginning we did, but afterward, no. Then she got married and she left. She had family.
Okay, I think that we've covered it.
Yeah, I didn't have
Thank you.
too much. I just had